Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we are actually in Mount Komorebi, and I'm really excited to be here because I have not built here in what feels like a very long time. I'm trying to remember the last time I actually built in this world. What did I build here? Oh, I think I built like a little ramen restaurant. It was like a 1 LDK little ramen shop. It was, I think, in the fall. So it seems like it's been a really long time because it's officially a different year too. So, haha, I haven't built here since last year. Ha ha ha, funny joke. But no, I haven't been here for a while. And I haven't done a family home in a very long time here. So I was really excited to come back here and try to build something. This is a build style that I very much struggle with. I have been transparent about this before, and I will continue to be transparent about it because it's really difficult for me. I feel as though I seem to nail the roofing. Now it's the shape of the houses that I struggle with. Now I was working off of, I want to say about 3 different photos on Pinterest to try to bring something together. I wanted there to be like this open kind of balcony thing at the front of the build. So I tried to work that in. I tried to make the roofing kind of work around it. And you know what? It really just ended up looking like any of my other suburban homes. Like, I can't even lie. Like, I'm not even going to try to skirt around it. It will. That is pretty much what it'll look like. And I just thought it looked like, as it's kind of being worked through here, I thought this looked so awkward. I did not like how it looked. I loved the front. So I loved the entrance. I loved the combination of kind of the more traditional windows and the modern windows that I used in the front. I did not like the second story. I did not like kind of that main roof piece at all. I really didn't enjoy it, but I really liked the open balcony. So I was getting very upset with myself because I couldn't figure out a way to make this work. I also tried to play around with some of the windows here to make like this big kind of sunroom. I've been doing a lot of sunrooms lately. Clearly this is my sunroom kick. Eventually it'll stop, but right now I'm really loving them. But yeah, I was trying to do that here. I was trying to create like a porch area, and there were just so many roof pieces and so many things that didn't look proportional that I was getting so frustrated with myself. I really was. So if you're wondering, this home was a labor of love, but let me tell you, the end result, I personally think, was so worth it. I love this house. I love the interior so much more than I thought I was going to. I made some different design decisions that I wouldn't typically make, especially with like floor plans and stuff like that. I tried to utilize some platforming here and there. I didn't go nuts with it, but I did use platforms, which I don't do often, so that also felt great. And to be honest, this is a really big lot for me. I think this is a 20 by 30 or 30 by 20, however that ends up working out. But yeah, it's not that big of a lot, to be fair, but I think with knowing that there was going to be a back garden area, I like how I just call it a back garden as if I am from Europe. The backyard, or the back garden, because that kind of is a garden area, to be honest, but I knew there was going to be one of those. I knew there was going to be kind of like a sunroom, which I was going to make into a tea room. I knew I was going to do that. And this is for a family. Why did I not mention this? This is for an existing family. I didn't just make this for, a family of 4, which you could, of course, use it for whatever family you'd like. But I was actually making this for the Akiyama family. And I hope I pronounced that correctly. I probably did not. So please let me know in the comments down below if the pronunciation was on or off. And also if you hear any throat gargling, please ignore it because it's happening because I just had lunch. Anyway, this is for the Akiyama family, and they consist of Kato, Jenna, Taku, and Miki. So there's 2 parents, and then they have a son and a daughter, and they just moved back kind of into this area. They moved away from the city, and yeah, they just have 2 kids, and they're both pretty adventurous, I would say. I think Jenna actually is pretty adventurous. I think she has that trait and she really likes like outdoorsy things. But other than that, I'll go into kind of their personalities when we get into their rooms and their spaces and things. But they are an existing family that came with the Snowy Escape expansion pack. And I really liked them. I really liked that family. I loved giving them very, very brief makeovers for my save file, by the way. I didn't alter them that much because they're pretty darn cute. I really liked them. But as you can see, I completely demolished the second story of the house and decided to try again and work with another shape. And like I said, it ends up looking like every single one of my other suburban homes, just with roofing that looks more traditionally Japanese. Can't help myself, I'm sorry. But I do end up getting rid of that space there with the 3 windows on the second story. That does become a, what's it called? A balcony. I tried to actually make one back here too. You can see this. I left in a lot of the trial and error because I wanted you guys to see how difficult this was for me. And I don't want you to feel as though you're alone if you struggle with this build style, because I definitely struggle with it. But yeah, I tried to make a balcony here, worked into the roof over this sunroom, and I ditched that as well because I really didn't like it. Really didn't like it. And that's when I learned that the medium wall height windows that we got with this pack don't have open screens, if that makes sense. Those are kind of like shaded out, but they don't have open screens, which was disappointing. Here is where I make that little balcony built into the roof at the front. And I liked how this looked, so I kept it. It ended up not being as big as I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to be able to get possibly an activity or two out there. And I think I put a decorative plant. Now you could put like a few gardening pots or something there, or maybe even like the wash bin to do laundry. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, but you could probably swap out something there and kind of add an activity if you wanted to, but I decided to keep it very minimally decorated. I ended up just putting a chair out there and, like I said, some decorative plants because it is right off of the primary bedroom for the parents. And I thought that was a little bit more appropriate than it being accessible like via the hallway or something. Now, also the bedroom situation. This was a little bit odd. I don't necessarily think that this is, well, I mean, actually, you all could kind of tell me. I don't know if it's more traditional for bedrooms to be on the first floor or second floor in Japanese homes, so definitely let me know. But the bedrooms are kind of split here, actually. So the youngest, well, not the youngest child, but one of the children, Taku, his bedroom is on the first floor, and then Miki and Jenna and Kato's bedrooms are upstairs on the second floor. And that's mainly because I really just didn't have the space. It had nothing to do with wanting to split up the bedrooms that way. And I thought that maybe having one of the kids' rooms on the first floor in the specific room that I ended up making, because the shape was a bit odd, I thought it would be best to just have it be one of the kids' rooms anyway. And I actually saved that until the absolute end of the build too, because I didn't know what to do with that room and I wasn't quite sure about the second story either. So a lot of decisions were made for this build, like as I was actively trying to figure it out. That sounds really odd. I'm always actively trying to figure it out. I never really go in with a super strong plan, but I really just didn't know how this house was going to be laid out. I had no idea what things were going to look like for the floor plan. I knew it was going to be wonky, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the shape of the build. So it's finally come together. I'm trying to start the landscaping, which I tried to step outside the box just a little tiny bit with how I typically landscape in Mount Como. I really enjoy landscaping in this world, but I tend to only use plants that are in the debug menu from this pack, and I don't branch out to other packs or other items. So I decided to try to get a little bit crafty. This was a bit overwhelming, what I had here. I was really trying. I was going to make like a driveway because I had some front yard space. I was going to just fill every available spot with greenery. I was going to make my own little half wall fence because we only had that bamboo fence from the actual build and buy catalog. I did end up using this fence here from the debug menu because I did use it in my last build in Mount Como as well. I thought it was very reminiscent of some of the walls with particular kind of like patterns and stuff that I've seen in different inspiration pictures. And oh my gosh, this leads me to, okay, so on Twitter, I want to say it was recent enough. I'm pre-recording a ton of stuff, so I don't know exactly when. But I asked about anime recommendations for someone who's never watched anime before, isn't sure if she likes it, and I don't know, I don't really like cheesy things per se. I don't really know how to articulate it because I know there's so many different, I suppose, like genres of anime. So I was very curious and I asked Twitter, and Sims Twitter specifically, for recommendations, and you all did not disappoint. I got like 25 different recommendations or something, which was far more than I was anticipating. There were a fair amount of repeats, which those are like the big ticket ones. So I think there was, oh gosh, should I even create my list yet? I didn't actually create my list, so maybe I'll put them in a pinned comment if I remember. If not, I guess I'll just report back. I don't know. But there were maybe 3 or 4 specific animes that popped up numerous times, which means that I probably have to give them a shot. And I'm very curious. Now, I really like the art style of anime, and I love looking at photos for inspiration to build in this world from animes, but that's why I kind of want to watch some. I feel like I'd enjoy them. You know, as a kid and almost like a preteen, I did enjoy Avatar: The Last Airbender. I didn't watch it all the way through. I kind of casually watched it, but I don't know if that actually counts as an anime either. I'm clearly not well versed in this at all. Like I'm not even a novice, okay? I am entry level, like beginner. I know nothing about anime, so I'm sure I'm stepping into something here where everyone's going to be like, "Oh, let me tell you this about anime. Like, let me recommend all of the animes under the sun. You have to watch this." And I want all those recommendations, so please tell me, because I'm going to give it a shot. I want to give some of them a shot and just see if I like it, because I've never really watched anything before. But yeah, this landscaping is a bit overwhelming. I do end up completely changing the front of this build because I really didn't like it. It was just way too much. It was very, very chaotic. I wanted to kind of tone it down a little bit, make it fit into this area a little bit more, because I just felt as though it was a bit too wild for this part of Mount Como. Like if I was out in the countryside, I don't think it would have fazed me as much, but I did tone it back, so you will see that in the screenshots. I did a bit off camera because I ended up using terrain paint and the tool mod more, and I knew I was spending too much time on the exterior, so we're on to the interior, and the floor plan is a bit wonky, like I said, but there is a bathroom down on the first floor. Thank goodness I was able to fit one down here. It is a bit awkward, but I did it. There's of course the kitchen, dining, and living space, as well as the little sunroom off the back, which is going to be like a little tea room, and then what's his name? Taku's bedroom. I keep forgetting the names. Thank goodness I have them in front of me. There's also a pretty big entryway area, which I believe is called the Genkin. I could be incorrect. I'm going to look that up right now so I don't look foolish. I was correct. I looked it up. Thank goodness. I remembered that because when Snowy Escape came out, or when we got the announcement, I decided to do a Japanese-inspired build prior to the pack's release, and I went nuts trying to research how the interiors typically looked, what certain things were called, and that one just stuck out to me because I think it was one of the first things I learned. But we are first working on the kitchen. Now, there is a kotatsu in the middle of this kitchen. It's more of a galley kitchen, I would say, and I really enjoyed the opportunity to use the Country Kitchen Kits countertops. Woo, that was a mouthful. I used the countertops and I paired them with these cabinets from Jungle Adventure because the wood tones were very similar. They just weren't as distressed as the countertops. So I really liked that. I also got to use the stove and oven from that pack and the fridge from Snowy Escape. And I thought it all went together so nicely, especially with these Jungle Adventure floors because they look a little bit more rustic. I've been using these floors a lot more lately. I used to use them all the time, so I told myself not to use them anymore because I thought people were going to get sick of them, and you might still get sick of them, but I'm using them a lot recently because I really like them. Now, this kitchen does have an archway that's open to the living space, and it is up on a platform. So any platform usage on the interior is only up or down one, and that means that you don't have to add stairs. Your Sims will just be able to step up or down onto or into the platform. I don't know how to phrase that, but it should be very straightforward. Shouldn't be an issue at all for routing. I did, of course, playtest this build, and it was not an issue at all, but we are cluttering up the kitchen, just adding a bunch of clutter details because I think that even though they just moved back, they quickly made this home, well, they made this house a home. That's what I was trying to say. They quickly made this house a home. So they have a lot of stuff. Maybe they had a bigger apartment or something in the city and they were able to get like this substantially sized house out near the country, if you will. I don't know. I really liked this kitchen. It really set the tone, I think, for the rest of the build too. I was really pleased. And now there are a few, I want to say there's a faux tea set in the kitchen that I end up keeping. This one from Cottage Living, I do shuffle around a lot, and I don't think I end up keeping it. I think I actually just take the teapot decor item and put it on the table, but there is a tea set that's actually out in the sunroom that's functional. I think it's one of the ones we got with my wedding stories, so that was really nice. And I did have the hot pot here. Of course, I wanted to make sure that was accessible and ready to go for your Sims to be able to use. And even though I know that little lucky pig decoration, I believe that that was something that we got with an update to base game probably years ago at this point, but I always confuse it as an item from Snowy Escape, and it is not. So if you are looking for it, I believe it is a base game item, but I am just wrapping up a lot of the clutter in the kitchen and trying to just figure out where everything is going to go. I, of course, wanted to make sure there was at least one countertop available for your Sims to cook. That is very important. But you could, of course, get rid of some additional clutter items if you would like more space. And now this ends up being the living space, and the layout is something that I would have never expected. I don't know. I put it together. I mean, of course, I had to expect something, but I really just didn't know how I was going to lay things out at all. I had no idea. I knew that I wanted them to have a TV. I didn't just want a sitting room. And I thought that using that space over there to put the fireplace was kind of different. I did use a platform. I upped it once and I added this fireplace from Snowy Escape. So it makes the room really, really cozy. And then I had this really awkward space here that I ended up just making a giant platform. And I put I want to say this like tea shelf here and a desk to make that a little bit of a workstation. It was a really awkward layout. It really was. And I think it was because I had to, of course, place a staircase. And that was really difficult because I didn't want it to block off an entire bump out from the home, which ends up being the bathroom for the downstairs. So I don't know. It was awkward. Maybe you could come up with a better decision on how to use that space that I just created into a giant blocked off platform, but that's what I ended up doing. And again, I think that the layout of this living space was just so different from what I would typically do. And I thought it was so pretty. I really did. I thought it was so pretty. I loved how it was open to the kitchen and that dining space. I love how it's open to this archway, to like the little tea room, the sunroom. And it just feels very breezy and warm. And it brought me so much joy as I was doing it. It really did. I loved it so much. So hopefully you guys enjoy it too. And I used a lot of Jungle Adventure, I think, with this pack as well, or with this build, with this build as well, because I used this console table from that pack, which I haven't used in a long time. And these beautiful sofas from Snowy Escape. I end up swapping out that shelf that's over the fireplace, I think, with actually a couple of cabinets, the same ones that I used in the kitchen. And I did add some clutter to the TV stand, and I added another little like console table thing near the back archway, but I did that off camera because again, I knew I was spending way too much time doing some of these pieces. And so I decided to move on to the Genkin, which was pretty big. Usually I would make these a lot smaller, but I thought this was very fitting for the home. So it's pretty big. I mean, it's a good size. I did use originally those little cube organizer things from Dream Home Decorator for like shoes and things. But then I remembered that we had this little hanger from high school years. So I decided to make that like a coat and shoe storage over there. I put an ottoman closer to the door as well as that mirror, that full length mirror. And I put a coat rack over here, and it's very plainly decorated. It's really not that cluttered in any capacity. And that's just because I didn't really know what else to put there. I thought that it was sufficient to kind of leave it as is and leave it very open and welcoming. That way it doesn't feel restrictive when you kind of first walk in. Do you know what I mean? That was kind of my feeling. Now, I also put a painting over here on the wall in the hallway, and then I added that bookcase at the end of the hallway right near the archway, as well as another console table, because I love a good console table that's decorated with clutter things. But I really liked it. It still was very peaceful, and it didn't feel as though you were being like smushed in a hallway between all of these different things. I don't know if that makes sense. And then there is a door right at the bottom of the stairs for the bathroom. Now this downstairs bathroom is pretty big. So I did separate the toilet and sink from the shower, and there was plenty of space in this initial little room. So this is where the toilet and sink are. So there's some additional storage, there's some counter space. I do add a few clutter items on these countertops, or on these shelves, I should say, because they are open. These are the ones that came with Snowy Escape. And the reason why I didn't use them in the kitchen is because all of the countertops are open. None of them are like closed off, and I don't like leaving them empty because then it just looks empty. And I don't like cluttering them up completely because then it looks way too busy. So I decided to just use them in the bathroom and clutter up a few of them with some items, kind of making this bathroom storage type thing. And then over here is where there is a shower tub combo as well as a shower. Why did I do that? I don't know. It's quite luxurious, I guess. you have a shower and you also have a shower tub combo. So I don't know, if you just want to stand and take a quick shower, you can. If you want to take a bath, go ahead and do that. I don't know. I liked it, you guys. Hopefully you like it too. And if you don't, you can just get rid of it. But yeah, I was just adding a rug there to the Genkan. And then this is going to be the little sun/tea room. I did play around with the windows a bit because I realized that I was stacking them much higher than I had to with this medium wall height. Though it was a little bit odd with this archway at first, but I ended up figuring it out, and that actually gave me the ability to use windows that didn't have that kind of like shoji screen type thing, and it made it so much more open. There was so much more sun that was coming through, and I got to play around with the same curtains that I had on the interior, and I thought they actually looked really nice. These Desert Luxe curtains have come in so clutch for so many different builds for me lately, and I'm shook. I did not think, I was shooketh to my core. I did not think I was going to be using them this much. Now, there is another kotatsu out here, though it is the smaller one, and there is the tea set from my wedding stories. I was going to put a meditation stool there, but I ended up trying to shift around with the poof and the chair, and then I end up just putting a chess table there because I thought it would be nice to have another activity. And then there's kind of that faux storage thing over there. There it is, that little faux storage thing. And I do decorate it. I clutter it up just a little bit. I put a few things on the top and I put a few clutter items down on the bottom as well. So I put a plant here, the little like blossom, which is really cute. I put a candle and that shrine item. So that is a really big item that I think was in the debug menu, but I did shrink it down to make it look like a statue. I thought that was really cool. I really liked it. But we are now on to the second floor. If you hear my phone going off, I just got a bunch of texts from my mother. I should probably move my phone when I do voiceovers. But yeah, this is the upstairs. So there are 2 more bathrooms up here. Two full bathrooms. And the 2 bedrooms. So the primary bedroom and then the bedroom for Miki. Now, I was really happy with the ability that I had to get 2 bathrooms up here. It means that the space where the toilet is a lot smaller. And I believe they only have showers because I was just really restricted with space. But it's really nice. So the parents have a ensuite bathroom, and then Miki kind of gets her own bathroom, and then Taku downstairs gets his own bathroom, which is huge. I don't know, everybody lucked out in this build. It's just the way it worked. And now the primary bedroom is very plainly decorated. I loved using all of these items from Snowy Escape. I put those 2 little poof ottomans at the end of the bed. I thought that looked kind of cute. And there's a lot of soft browns, greens, and kind of like these softer neutral pinks because the comforter almost matches the pink detailing on that rug from Cats and Dogs, which was super convenient. I really liked it. And then that was the balcony very quickly, where I only put a faux decorative plant, and then I quickly decorate these bathrooms. Again, they both just have showers, and then they have the toilet and sink areas that are, well, actually the sink is technically in the shower area, but the toilet is at least separate, which I think is the primary goal. You know what I mean? The toilet is a little dirty. The shower is where you get clean. You want to keep those separate. I completely understand. There might be more meaning too that I genuinely don't know. So if you do know why those spaces are separate, let me know in the comments down below. I would be very curious. I haven't looked that up before. So definitely tell me. But this is the little landing area. And there are just a couple of decorative items here, like this hanging plant. We've got a runner rug, and I've got those little, I guess I'll still call them sconces, but they look more like wall-mounted lanterns from Snowy Escape as well. And then I put these 3 little teeny tiny side tables from Snowy Escape together to create a console table that just looked a little bit different. And I do clutter it up. I've got a few different items here. I found that from, I think that was from Spa Day. I don't know what it was. I didn't read the description. I tried to size it down. It created this huge shadow that I really didn't like. I thought it was kind of interesting. I've never used it before, and I didn't use it here, but now I know it exists, so that's cool, I guess. And now this is going to be Miki's room, and I absolutely love her room so much. Again, using a lot from Snowy Escape, but I wanted to make this kid's room, of course, very colorful and representative of her interests and kind of what she likes. So Miki is a goofball, and she's a social butterfly. That didn't give me too much to go off of, but yeah, she's a goofball. So I just think she's a very social, fun-loving kid. And I went with kind of a purple, blue, and touches of yellow color scheme. Not everything is really matchy-matchy in this room, which I actually very much enjoyed. I used this rug from Parenthood, the bedroom's No Escape, and these curtains from Dream Home Decorator, and things kind of came together really nicely. I really loved this room. I did give her her own desk here so she could do her homework and write in her journal. And I wanted to give her this aquarium because I feel like she has a pet fish that she's absolutely obsessed with. Like, I don't know. I just got that vibe. I was like, this girl's a fish girl. She just is. So I wanted to give her that little activity because I always forget to put the fish bowls in my builds too. Like, literally always forget. But she also has that stuffed animal. I gave her this tapestry with the mountainscape at first. I think I do swap it out with the item from, I think, the kids' room pack. Oh no, I do keep the mountainscape, but I swapped out the parenthood lights. Yeah, with like all the pictures of friends and like adventures and outings and stuff. Since she's such a social kid, I envision those are like pictures of her and her friends, which I wish you could actually do that. I wish you could take pictures in game and just like clip them to fill those spaces, kind of like we have those digital picture frames from the Moschino stuff pack. If they went back and changed that for that item, do you know how happy I would be? I would be over the moon. That would be so cool. But I am decorating her little desk space here just with a few miscellaneous items, nothing really that important. And I put a pop-up book on the ground. I've got some like knitted stuffed animals and things. And then I just put this kind of like stack of clothes on top of the faux, hamper. And then she's also got that little like teddy bear doctor toy that helps kids raise their empathy characteristic. And just a few more toys here and there, just some miscellaneous things. She also has that nice purple toy chest, which I never use the toy chest, and I don't know why. So happy I used it in her room. And the way that I approached making her room where everything was kind of like somewhat matched but somewhat mismatched really influenced how I ended up decorating Taku's room as well. I was worried about matching the different wood tones, so I was a little bit nervous about using this swatch of the Snowy Escape bed because of the really orange woods, but I wanted the Yamachan comforter so badly. And so I ended up keeping it. Now, Taku, let me just pull up his little wiki here. He's an art lover. His aspiration is artistic prodigy. Oh, precious baby. And I think, actually, is my memory serving me correctly? I think Jenna's active. I don't know why I was thinking that she was also artistic. I don't know. But he's a very artistic little sim. So I wanted to make sure he got his own like creativity table. And I added tons of posters and just clutter and things like that. And his room is pretty cool because it's platformed. I really liked that. His room is platformed. So he's also got this little room divider, which separates where he sleeps from this other little space where his creativity table is and like a bookshelf and stuff like that. So his room's a little bit bigger, but he has the same number of activities in here, I think. And now I love using these modular little storage things from high school years. I thought that worked really nicely because I went with a lot of different shades of blue and green in his room. Maybe it's because, is he wearing a blue shirt when you load him up? He is. He's wearing a blue shirt, so maybe that's what I was going for. He also, on his shirt, has what looks like a little corgi, I don't know, with like a sleeping bag rolled up on the corgi's little back. So maybe he really likes the outdoors. I don't know. That could be something. I think that Jenna likes the outdoors, his mom. So maybe that's how they've kind of bonded a little bit, where he also likes being outside. So anyway, I gave him that pillow that looked like it was like camping stuff all over it. And then he also has a desk, and that's cluttered up as well, just like his sister's. He's got tons of stuff in here. And I did use that little decorative item from the Parenthood game pack that kind of has like the box of crafts with like glue and crayons and glitter and stuff, because it's definitely up his alley. He's also got a stuffed animal to play with if he so chooses. I put this decoration from Parenthood of all like the kid drawings above the door, which I thought was a really nice idea. Like, he's really proud of his artwork. And he also gets a toy chest. So again, they have very similar activities. His space is just a little bit bigger, I'd say. He's got a little bit more room to move around, but it's really nice too because he's got that separation of his sleeping space and his kind of activity space, since there isn't a proper playroom or anything in this build. And then we end up moving on to the backyard, which I did fence in with the, I think, one and only fence we got with this pack. Now, I thought since the yard was big enough that I would add a pond in the backyard. I didn't put a fishing sign, which I probably should have done. I was going to say I could make it fishable, if you will, but I don't think I did. I think I really just did it for pure decoration. And do you know what else I did? I haven't done this since I did the Japanese family home that I made prior to Snowy Escape coming out. Oh, it took a long time for me to get there. I used these things from the debug menu that you can find kind of all over Oasis Springs. I think so they're a base game item, and they're really cool because I've seen a lot of kind of raised garden beds like this in a lot of Japanese builds that I've looked at. And when I say builds, I mean inspiration pictures. I've seen like raised garden beds, and I did this as well in that home that I built a long time ago. And since I had the space, I thought, why not? Let me see if I can kind of configure things and make them work here. So I did. It was a little bit difficult because the shapes are a bit odd and I kind of had to work with them, but I ended up using them and I thought they looked really nice. Like this space over here to me is very tranquil. I did use a lot of terrain paints to kind of get some gravel and things to make it kind of match the front. And there is an outside dining table here as well. I think I just end up using this plain old picnic table, nothing special. And then over on the other side of the yard, there is a wash bin, there is a clothesline, and there's a swing set for the kids, as well as some more raised garden beds because it was a big backyard, but it was kind of oddly shaped. So I struggled to figure out exactly what I could fit here in a way that made sense. And I loved using this swing set from Island Living. I don't use it enough, and I thought that it was rather fitting for this build. I don't know why, I just thought it would work. So I ended up using it and I really enjoyed it. As you can see, I'm trying to finagle those little like raised garden bed things because they're really difficult to place with the odd shapes that they're in. And I didn't just want them to be purely rectangular. I wanted them to be a little bit wonky and odd, but still look somewhat symmetrical, which I hope kind of came through. I don't know if it really did, but again, I'm just using the same plants that I used in landscaping towards the front of the build and everything like that. Use this same shrubs and flowers and everything. And it was a mix of base game and Snowy Escape stuff. And I've been doing this a lot too, where I'm shrinking trees to make them look like shrubs. And it works really well with this, what I presume is a Japanese maple tree. Thought it looked really nice, and it gave a pop of color to the landscaping that didn't normally have any pops of color aside from maybe these purpley pink flowers. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the build. So I hope you all enjoyed this one. I love it so much. I really enjoyed making it and I was so excited to share it. But let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.